party and go to like different festivals and stuff. And then there's girls that, want to have like sit down romantic dinners, and they all have different personality types and body types. And that keeps the whole thing really interesting. So living in different cultures and experiencing different girls' personalities and different body types, that to me beats like just settling for like, okay, this is the body type I have now for a year, 5 years, or for life. And like one personality can get predictable and boring, and then I don't know, then on both sides, I think, and then people start having wandering eyes. And I just think monogamy is pretty unrealistic, especially with all the social media and stuff like this going on today. There's just temptation, and people are meeting people too often and stuff like that. And I don't know. I'm happy with just having one or two main chicks I really like, and then a bunch of, side partners, usually between 5 and 10, or right now it's a little bit high. But
so with all of these results that you've gotten, what do you think it is that makes the biggest difference? Like, why do some guys get good and some don't?
I think the majority of guys are looking at the wrong stuff. I think a lot of the advice out there on dating is pretty bad. It's either incorrect advice or very suboptimal in some way. A lot of the guys giving the advice aren't getting really good results for themselves. Like when I claim the 1000 claim, I've been steadily reporting it in a number of different ways for years, but there's like countless, what they call like field reports in the community where other advanced guys have detailed spending months with me and the results that they've seen me get personally. The hidden camera infield footage, I have like over 100 instances of from start to finish taking a girl home. I recorded that for like a whole year, going out 5 nights a week. I had my old Instagram, which is now shut down. I posted like 300 different girls in a row. So I actually post the proof of this stuff. I have like what I would consider more proof than most people in the industry or anyone that I found. And people that know me know that I take not that the lay count is everything, but it's a good objective measure of skill. So a lot of the other coaches out there, like I know a lot of coaches that haven't even slept with 10 girls yet.
Hold on. We're getting off topic here. We got to go back to the question.
Yeah.
What is because I want these guys to learn something from you, right? And get some value here. So what do you think makes the biggest difference? Like, why do some guys get good and why do others don't? What is it?
Okay. Yeah. So to that last point, the biggest thing is a lot of people are following the wrong guys. So it's a lot of blind leading the blind in the forums and in the channels and stuff like that. You have people that are not getting results themselves, giving advice to other people. So that's number one. Number two, people are just lazy. A lot of guys would prefer to just be like theory junkies and watch a whole bunch of videos and then not go out and take any action. I think the blind leading the blind is really the huge main culprit. Because a lot of guys that I know put in tons of time and effort, in some cases money, buying paid products or getting live trainings, but it's not helping them. Lots of times it's like setting them back. And as they go through months and years with that particular coach or a variety of coaches that aren't helping them, they'll keep buying more products from that coach and keep taking more live trainings. Like I'll have guys that come to me and say, I've taken 11 programs of Real Social Dynamics, live programs, and I don't know what to do in a nightclub, like in terms of talking to the girl. But they don't have a clue after 11 live programs.
So how can a guy become aware of that? Because of course now they can, I guess, because they're hearing you say it. So there's an awareness now, but how do you know? How do you know if you're not getting the right information? How do you know if you're not getting the results that you should be getting in a specific amount of time? How do you figure that out?
Yeah, see, I think the problem is that a lot of these companies that are misleading guys and giving incorrect principles and suboptimal principles, they have really, really good marketing, and a lot of them are lying about the results. So there's even a bunch of cases of them faking hidden camera stuff. And so guys don't know. And it's hard for like a guy like me that's just existed through referrals for most of the year. Like I haven't blown up a huge following on YouTube. That's what I'm focusing on this year. But I would say just in terms of, without having to do research to the whole industry, if you're not sleeping with, at least 2 or 3 new girls every month or two, like something's got to change. Like these guys, I know a lot of guys, they're doing like 7 nights out and they're never getting like a new chick in their life. And they will every once in a while, but it's usually due to luck and not skill. So it'll be like a drunk girl lost her friends and like maybe isn't that attractive. And they're like in the right place at the right time. And they're like, oh, game is working, and It's like, no, it's not. So, I mean, you see what percentage of the guys that do this do you think, from your experience, are getting like good to a sufficient degree where they're like happy with their results? If you had to put a number
I
out
mean,
there.
if I had to put, it's hard. Low.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the stuff that we teach, I think a lot of the videos on my channel become more entertainment for guys than anything. It's really fun to watch them. It's fun to get the advice. It's like you get this cozy feeling inside that there is an answer.
Yeah.
So you see the potential of getting the results. And sometimes that feels good enough for guys to have. It's like the same idea as like you buy a book at a store. How many times have you bought a book and you just haven't read it?
It sits there. Yeah.
And it sits there. But you really wanted to buy the book and you got excited to buy the book and it felt good. But then all of a sudden you just haven't read it. I know I've done that plenty of times. I have a lot of books I haven't read, you know. So I think a lot of guys end up getting excited by the idea of getting results. But then when it comes down to it, they realize it's a lot of work. And not every person is cut out to do a lot of work.
That's true.
You know, when I first started this, I was going out. I was like you. I was going out 3 to 4 times a week. There was periods where I'd go out every night for like 3 weeks at a time. I would do that a few times a year. And it was hard work. I really enjoyed it, though. I don't know. Maybe there's people out there who I enjoyed it because I like the challenge of it. Of like, okay, I'm going to go out. I'm going to get better at this. It was like the idea of like going to the gym. You know, like, okay, I'm going to go and gain muscle, lose weight, whatever it is. You know, so I'll just say I think it's about trying to find the fun in it. When I coach guys and I help them out and I give them exercises to do and approaches to do, if we're doing like phone coaching, I try to remind them like, don't make this a thing where you're just like, oh, I got to do the homework. I got to go on approach. Like, try to make it fun for yourself. Try to find the entertainment for yourself in the process of it, you know? Mm-hmm. I'm curious, what do you think the most common reason is for people who do fail or give up? You know, it's like guys are going out there, they are trying this. They actually are, let's say, reading the book, right? Mm-hmm. Or doing the coaching or taking the program or watching the YouTube videos, but then they fail or they just stop. What do you think it is?
Well, that goes back again a lot of times to they're following the wrong people. But the other big thing is that they have unrealistic expectations. So I'm putting out that real stat that a guy that's slept with over 1,000 girls, I'm getting a 10% close rate. So that sounds really low, but guys are expecting almost like 100% success rate with this. Like what I've seen with a lot of the guys that I've coached and stuff like this is that when they get a rejection, so to speak, if the girl doesn't want to talk to them, whatever you want to call it, like a negative reaction, they take it personally and they're like, okay, like I'm not good enough, or there's something wrong with me, or you know, I'm a loser or something like this. And what I try to teach guys is like, you're not going to take home most of the girls you talk to. You're not going to get most of the girls you talk to on dates. So instead of expecting every girl to like you, like when we get to internal mindsets, I tell guys, you should assume that every girl will like you. And that when you talk to her, that you already have her before you approach and before you go in. But you shouldn't expect every girl. Like, there's plenty of girls that have boyfriends that aren't going to cheat. There's plenty of girls that just aren't in the mood to talk to anyone. And the really pretty ones, they're constantly being approached by low value guys that have no idea what to do or what to say. And so even when a cool guy comes along, they're just going to kind of brush him off a lot of the time. They're going to ignore him, or they're going to give him a token negative reaction just because they can't entertain this stream of nice guy approaching. So I tell guys, like, have realistic expectations. And then after that, it's just finding the right coach, finding a guy that really is getting good results, which there's not many of us, and just soak up his stuff. So the stuff I'm putting out on my channel now, I really kind of cranked it up. I'm putting out 6 new videos a week, and I'm doing hidden camera breakdowns from start to finish. And I'm breaking down exactly what I'm doing, what I'm saying, so guys can copy that. I'm going through certain things that I'm doing that guys can replicate. Like I have a video on how to set up dates straight to your house, so you don't even need to take them for a drink or coffee. Like I give them the exact text I use to get them straight over to the house. Or I say, like, here's what you do once you get to go back to your house, so there's no more guesswork there. Or like, here's exactly what I'm doing and saying to take a girl home in 5 minutes. And so guys can copy this stuff. And I get emails all the time where guys are like, just from the free YouTube stuff, the products go much deeper. But just from the free YouTube stuff, guys are like, wow, like I wasn't getting any results before, and now I'm getting tons of results. So I try to keep the quality really high in terms of the content that I'm putting out, and I just way up the production the past month. I think that's what caught your attention. How did you see my channel? I'm just curious.
I think one of your videos just came up on the side, and I just checked it out, and I then saw what you were doing, and just thought it was interesting. You know?
Yeah, I just started the channel like maybe a year and a half ago. Even though I've been in this for like a decade, like I said, with the referral stuff, I never really needed to go, get out there and just make a whole bunch of content, because people would take my stuff were getting good, and then they'd tell all their friends, etc. But yeah, in the past month, after hitting 1,000 at the end of last year, I was like, all right, I really need to get this in front of a lot more people. So I got a lot of really good testimonials coming in, and guys were like, dude, you single-handedly changed my life. Like, I look at everything differently now. Like, I have all these options now with girls, and I just heard that from enough guys, and I was like, all right, 2019 is where I'm going to take YouTube seriously. And I think just putting out more consistent content in terms of 6 days a week, and then upping the production. I have an editor now that makes everything look pretty, and that's probably why it was recommended to you, because now it's starting to gain traction.
Yeah. I'm curious too, because you say you have a lot of videos coming out. One of the things that guys struggle with the most is keeping an interaction going, right? It's like they'll ditch out pretty fast.
Yep.
Or they won't know what to say, things like that. Do you talk a lot about it in your channel? Maybe you can share some tips with us for the guys, because I know that guys really want to learn how to be able to keep the interaction going. So curious to hear what you have to say about that.
Yeah, that's one of the questions I get asked the most from clients. So the first recommendation that I give is don't make it a big deal. Like, don't see the chick as like some special thing where you need to like have these perfect responses. So I tell guys, like, when you're interacting with your close friends, are you ever wondering like, what should I say next? What should I do next? What if I run out of things to say? No, you just flow naturally with your friends. So I tell guys to speak to women, even hot women, the same way they would speak to their close friends, but just incorporate more flirting and sexuality. But you're not gonna make sexual remarks to your guy friend. But if you are, maybe you should be at a different place. But don't make it a big deal. So that way, when you're in the interaction, it's not, guys are trying to do too much micromanagement. They're like, what does she think of how I'm acting? What should I say next? What if I fuck up? How good is this going so far? All these things, and that kind of, manifests itself in freezing them up, and they look unsure of themselves, and they look not confident. So just talk to the girl like you would talk to anyone that you're close friends with. And then the other piece is have a bunch of go-to topics. So I talk about in my Occam's Razor product, I talk about just a whole bunch of go-to things. So I'll ask the girl, what is your ethnicity? I'll even ask those like typical interview questions that a lot of coaches say don't ask. I'll ask her, like, what area do you live in? What do you do for work? Oh, cool, I do this for work. I'll talk about different experiences I've had with traveling. Just whatever comes to mind. So I always teach guys, like, whatever comes to mind, speak about that, but always be steering things kind of in the direction where you're going to try to take her home, or you're going to try to set up a date. So I don't encourage guys to have these conversations that lead to nowhere. Like, some guys will talk for like 30 minutes, 60 minutes, hour and a half, and then they kind of like stall out. And then the girl's like, all right, well, have a good night. But they never really had any focus or structure of how to move things forward. So yeah, I mean, if they're just speaking to people like they would a close friend, and then having a bunch of go-to topics, then everything kind of flows from there.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I like that. I give similar advice too when it comes to talking to women like they're your friend, right? It's like guys don't have any confidence issues or nervousness or anxiety when they're talking to their friends or their family. So it's like, how can you bring out that energy, or how can you call back to what it's like to have conversations in those terms and bring that into the conversation with women, So it's like kind of like a new mindset. I like that. My last question here is, things have changed from 5, 10, 15, 30 years ago. How do you get good at meeting women in 2019? And how do you think it's changed in the last 5 years?
I think online has gotten a lot more popular. I think like 5 years ago, Tinder was, was starting to come out, but they've refined it and popularized it a lot more. So I think Tinder is a lot better of a source of leads than it used to be. And if you look at someone like Casanova, like the famous seducer Casanova, he says in his memoirs he slept with like 143 different girls. He didn't have a cell phone. He wasn't able to work all these phone numbers properly. So I think like being able to work your phone numbers properly to get meetups that's like the bread and butter of the closing. If you're able to acquire 30 to 50 phone numbers through a combination of bars and clubs, Tinder and Bumble, and then your daytime approaching that you might do in passing, and then you're able to work those into like 4 or 5 dates each week, and you get good at running the date and closing the date. Like it's just like a funnel basically, and then that just churns out a whole bunch of new regular hot girls in your life, and then you can keep around the ones that you like. I think there's too much emphasis by a lot of coaches on, oh, you have to take her home the same night, or you have to take her home the same day you meet her. And yeah, like I know how to do that really well, and I teach guys how to do that, but that's only one girl of the whole night, right? So the rest of the time you're gonna be getting a phone number. And I think a lot of guys don't work their phone numbers properly, and they fall through the cracks, so that a lot of these conversations and leads that they have are turning into nothing. And they're going cold over time too. So if they meet a girl on a Saturday, for instance, after that week's gone by, if they haven't gotten the girl on a date, then the number is in large parts not very useful at that point. And so they go get more numbers, but there's just like this number collection leading to nowhere. So I've really focused in. I have a second product called the Leads Machine that came out January 1st of this year. It's www.sexleadmachine.com. And it is literally like the result of all my evolution optimization of my texts from that whole 10-year period. So I just give flowcharts of every possible control path that can happen, and every possible objection that can come up, and the exact optimal responses to give to each one, so that you can get the meetup with the highest probability, which is all that matters at the end of the day. But in terms of other things that have changed, I don't even do Instagram or Snapchat game. Like I have 0 closes off Instagram and Snapchat. I just never really went that route. But I think a lot of guys are focusing too much on that stuff. They're trying to, build up like this amazing Instagram and doing all this legwork and stuff, and there's just not much bang for the buck there. I don't know what you found with Instagram or Snapchat, but guys are kind of like riding these trends and putting their focus in the wrong places.
Yeah, I think all that stuff is just a waste of time. A lot of guys ask me questions about how do you DM a girl? How do you get her to meet up off of Instagram? It's like, it's going to be really hard. That's my answer. It's
unless you have like a
making it so hard on yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, unless you're some crazy influencer and you have thousands and tens of thousands of followers. Mm-hmm. But even so, what you're doing is if you're trying to focus on that, what you're not doing is spending time meeting women in person, where the attraction really happens and where the skill set makes the most difference. Because eventually you're going to be with them anyways in person. So I just think, all the new tech stuff is just a waste of time, including apps. I mean, apps are a good way to meet women. I know a lot of guys get great results from it, but I just think that you can do so much more for yourself skill-wise if you focus on meeting women in person and not, going along with the technological trends that are happening. So
not enough guys are focused on the fundamentals. I tell guys, like, don't worry about all this other stuff. Get the fundamentals down, and then get good at meeting a girl in real life in the daytime, the nighttime, and then you can go from there and build on it.
Cool. Awesome. Well, this concludes our video. John Anthony from youtube.com/C/John Anthony Lifestyle, which I'll put down in the description. Thanks, man. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, appreciate it.
I was really curious to just like interview you and hear your thoughts. And I know you're a new guy in the scene in terms of social media. However, we're learning that you're not that new because you've been around for a while and you've been instructing with different companies and things like that. But yeah, man, it was cool getting to know you and doing this. So thanks for being here. And guys, if you're interested in what he has to say, you like what he had to say today, go in the description again and check out his YouTube channel there. Thanks, man.
Yeah, thanks a lot. All right, take care, guys.